Yo, what is up, everyone? We have a very exciting episode today. We're going to talk about a fantastic album called F-1 Trillion by none other than Post Malone. And with me to do this, as always, is Dixon. How are you?
Hey, great to be back. Consecutive episodes. Perhaps this is a new record.
I know. Well, we're back. It's definitely the new record this year.
I feel like we should have a personal connection to this F-1 Trillion we're going to talk about. Doesn't he call us out in one of those songs? Let's hear it. Let's hear it for the losers.
Yeah.
We mentioned by
Dixon,
name with that
right.
song. You and I together.
Really bringing me down right at the beginning of the show. I like that.
Oh man, it's good. It's all good. Yeah, good to be back.
That was good. Yeah, very good. Very good. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this. And this is kind of, BTS was kind of not spur of the moment necessarily, but we were looking for something to talk about. Yeah. And in case you guys don't know, Posty is on tour, and we said, well, why don't we talk about his new album, F-1 Trillion? And yeah. I'd say we have a lot to say about it, right, Dixon?
I think you're absolutely right, for sure. That would be a fair assessment.
Definitely. Some exciting stuff to talk about. Got a lot to say about it, but I think first we should do our... Dixie, you want to do the honors?
Oh, okay. Yes, our comment of the week with Ice and Dixon.
You do it way better than me. I have to pass that.
Oh no! Come on now.
Now, Dixie, you're gonna like this one. It's
Oh wow, okay.
So it's on our video, The Beach Boys' Friends, the most underrated album of all time? ?
Oh yeah, you like that album, right?
Oh, it's one of my favorites that you have.
This is a joke. I feel like you liked it.
No, I did.
It's a toned down production.
I did like it. It was more lo-fi style. I liked it. I didn't get some of their other. What's the one album that everyone loves? Pet Sounds.
Pet Sounds, yeah.
And I couldn't get into that. I definitely like Friends more.
Yes.
Than that one, but we have someone here. Very interesting comment here. Kind of an unorthodox way to listen to this album, but maybe it's not. So here we go. It's from Bedside Tabletop. He says, absolutely underrated. One of my favorite things is listening to this album a cappella and then on instrumental. Really shows the small details in the writing. I think that's a pretty interesting way to listen to an album. What do you think about that, Dixon?
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. I didn't even know there was. It's got to be on a box set, or maybe it was a bootleg. I don't think I've ever heard. Well, I've heard a cappella things from that album, I should say. Mm-hmm. But to really break it down like that, boy, that's pretty interesting. And that's exactly how Brian Wilson would wanted you to listen to his albums, for sure. With headphones in the dark, and then like that. That's for sure.
I love
boy,
that.
That's really something. Boy, I have to check this out. I wonder if this is available because. Like I said, I've heard a cappella things, but the backing tracks are probably out there.
Oh, sure.
But that's really cool. Yeah, the small details, and that goes to show, I think, maybe even though like you said, more lo-fi, more of a subtle production compared to the stuff of the earlier and mid '60s, that there was still that detail component there, just in a different way. That's awesome. That's really cool. Good. This is a dedicated guy. Good for him.
I know. Seriously, he might. Well, I won't cross any boundaries, but he might be a bigger fan of this album than you. I don't. Maybe not. Maybe not.
He might be. Seriously.
I mean, that's a definitely very analytical guy. So
yeah, I respect that. I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. Bedside Tabletop. Thanks for the comment.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
And that was our comment of the week with Ice and Dixon.
All right, so our boy Post Malone recently released F-1 Trillion, his brand new album.
Yes,
and
it's country.
I know. I mean, who would ever thunk it? And Dixon, I think we're seeing a lot of, maybe not a lot, but some surprising moves from artists over into country. Didn't you say Lana Del Rey is moving into country? She's making an album in country too, right?
Yes. I guess I think it's supposed to come out. Maybe it's coming out. If not the end of this year, early 2025. It's going to be a country themed album, and she has this songwriter she's worked with, including a songwriter who's, I think, delves into Christian music, one of the big Christian music writers in Nashville.
Oh.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But speaking of country, can we take a deviation right here for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
You should check out. Speaking of Lana Del Rey, this is actually a pretty funny tidbit. As of about a month ago, Lana Del Rey. The rumor is, or what it looks like, is that she's dating a what do they call those boats in Florida? Like the boat with the big fan on the back, a fan boat.
Oh,
right?
fan boat, yeah.
She is dating a fan boat tour guide from Florida or Georgia or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, or Alabama, one of the Gulf states. And he looks like the most regular dude you've ever seen in your entire life. I don't know how old he is, but they've been spotted together, and she is dating this guy, and so she's really going country. It seems like
that's actually incredible. That's
yeah, it really is. And the one comment, now you don't know how true these things are, but I was looking at a selection of memes from this that came up, and the one somebody commented on like an X post and said, "Is this how I find out that my dad is dating Lana Del Rey?" But like literally just a regular down home dude, and that's kind of the essence of Lana Del Rey. She is Americana personified, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I could see her doing something like that. Like
Yeah,
that wouldn't be out
sure.
of the ordinary for her. Like she wouldn't feel like that's like weird at all.
Right, and she dated that. She dated a cop. She did the cop from one of the live PD shows. One of the there's a cop on evidently a Hollywood cop. You know, he's in show business, entertainment. But I mean, she dated a cop when it was not popular to date a cop. I don't know if it still is.
Wow.
But from what I understand, he cheated on her.
What?
Can you imagine cheating on Lana Del Rey?
No. What the heck's wrong with you?
God, that's pretty bad.
That's actually wild. That's wild, Dixon. I can't believe that.
It is wild. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, down home, regular dude for Lana Del Rey, and there she is. But yeah, so definitely she's going country. Shabuzi, who I don't know what his career previous to this is, on the top of the charts with that song, the remix of Tipsy.
Yes, I love that song. I love that song.
Love that song too. It's getting a little bit overplayed already. Every place you walk into, you hear that damn song. But
it's like the horses in the back. I feel like that got overplayed pretty quick too.
There's horses in the back. They get overplayed very quick. Diplo has been in the country genre for the last few years, and Beyonce released a couple country tracks recently.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of crossover there. And I'll tell you what. Let's talk about the album first. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure. Okay. So F-1 Trillion, this album, it was an absolute treat. It was fantastic. And you know what? This is a double album. So we got two discs here. So I mean, how many songs were on this album? I think there were let's see, we got 27, I think.
27, 27. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over 87 minutes. So we're clocking in almost an hour and a half of music, but I love almost every single one of these songs, and I feel like when you have a lot of songs like this, some of them might seem kind of mass-produced, quickly written. Mm-hmm. They all kind of mesh together, but I don't think that's the case with this at all. And I think one of the coolest things about this is that Post Malone seems like he's right for country. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He just fits in so well, and I think that he really enjoyed himself making this.
I would agree with you. And it's funny because I wouldn't say I'm not. Post Malone seems like a very nice guy. He seems like a really cool dude, like really down to earth, really genuine. Just loves what he does. I think like you gave him a case of beer, he'd still be doing it. I only really knew his radio songs. Mm-hmm. I can't say I've been a huge Post Malone fan. But so my fiance, who is a big Morgan Wallen fan, who appears on this album, she has been playing this album since it came out in the middle of August, right? And I didn't realize who it was when she was playing it. And I'm like, oh, what's this you're listening to? She's like, oh, this is the Post Malone country album. I said, like, what? This is Post Malone country album? And I agree with you 100%. Every song on this album, you could listen to every song and you're not like bored of it. It's fantastic. It's good. I think it's good.
It is. I totally agree. It's very good. And like you said, you could listen to I Had Some Help, featuring Morgan Wallen, and you wouldn't have any idea that Post Malone is on that track. Right. That he's the headliner of this. Like it just I'll say this. And a lot of people probably didn't realize this when he was first coming out, that he he was rapping. He was kind of singing over everything, but he has a good voice. He could sing,
Right.
he could play guitar. You know, and like you said, he's just a very down to earth guy who likes what he does, and I think he just appreciates music. So
Right.
I think him just being able to meld into this genre that he wanted to make. I mean, I think back in 2017 he mentioned that he wanted to get into country. He just didn't know how to do it. And and I think that's why he goes in so well, because it's just something he actually wanted to do. This isn't like a sellout thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the stars, the way he put this together, and whoever in the production team, you have Tim McGraw, Hank Williams Jr., Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton, Dolly Parton, Brad Paisley, Luke Combs, Lainey Wilson, Jelly Roll, Ernest, Sierra Farrell, don't know who that is, but nonetheless, Chris Stapleton, Hardy, Billy String, Billy Strings.
I know, yeah, Billy String. So yeah, you have all these huge, like absolutely massive names right now in country, and then. Now here's, you mentioned Billy Strings at the end, and probably people listening, even people listening to this album probably have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
And I love that though, because I feel like it harkens back to Post Malone actually enjoying music. Like he probably has heard of Billy Strings, and he probably knows that he's one of the greatest, you know, folk guitar players. Probably, I've always said this before. Billy Strings is probably one of the greatest acoustic guitar players out there. He's very good. But he's very niche. But but Post Malone brought him on this album, and it's one of my favorite songs on here. It's just so good. I love that.
I mean, think about it, like you're like, oh, I'd like to make a country album, and then you're singing alongside Dolly Parton. I mean, that's it. You've reached the pinnacle.
Oh my god, yeah, 100%.
You've done it. It's over. Dolly Parton's on your track. I mean, Lainey Wilson is doing her thing. I mean, Lainey Wilson writes a lot of good songs, and you know everybody's familiar with her, you know, for her assets. Let's just say that. But grumbling on the other end.
Oh god. Gotta calm myself down. Gotta throw in a zin for this one. All right.
But she writes a lot of good songs.
You're right. You're right.
She writes a lot of good songs. And Luke Combs, I mean, I came out of nowhere from Vine. Luke Combs he's him and Morgan Wallen have still got to be number one as far as country airplay. And then, of course, everybody, you had to hear from Jelly Roll. Now, let me see about this Mr. Roll. So, because the biggest complaint that you and I have is that pretty much every bar we've walked into, you're guaranteed to hear "Son of a Sinner," whatever. I'm just whatever.
Yeah,
looking for new ways I
song.
can get. Looking for new ways I can get gone. And then somebody save me, and it's you're walking into I've only ever heard that in a bar with people playing it that are with their friends and pretty much having a good time, and I'm not sure I understand it.
Me either.
But again, Jelly Roll, down home guy, came from nowhere, and now he and Post Malone are on an album together. It's insane.
I know. But I love that too. It's just that, you know, he has enough pull in the industry that he could do something like this, which is great.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even talking to his other songs that he has that he doesn't have anyone featured on them, I think they're fantastic. Like, he doesn't even need that star power, but he still was able to get it. But he's able to do it by himself as well.
It's seriously, and what I was surprised about too, and I know you'll make a note of this too, is that every song on here, 29 songs, he has a co-writing credit on all these songs.
Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it.
Wild.
You know how I am about the writing.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Yeah, but he's featured on every single one here. So I actually watched an interview, and I'll talk about that quick. I don't want to blab on, but
yes,
I watched an interview, and like you said, Dixon, he seems like a very down to earth guy, and I always kind of knew that about him, but just watching him talk about this, it was really cool because he said that the way that they wrote it, he said it was literally just like a hangout session. They got their beer. What is he like, Bud Light? He said they just got like a case of Bud Light.
Yeah.
They would just all drink, get drunk. They would just, you know, toss ideas out. He'd start writing stuff down. He'd go back and forth. And it was just like 6 months of them just writing. Just that was it. And doing like long nights, like for a week at a time, they'd be doing stuff like this. Right. And one of the funny things though, kind of the more endearing parts about this interview is that Post Malone, he wanted to get into this, but he just he didn't understand how a band worked. So
That's awesome.
he was telling the interview, he's like, so like, I don't know if I just like hired like a band and like, do they follow me around and like, do they come to the concert with me or like, so
That's awesome.
he said when he's recording these songs, he has the writing down, but he wants, he could think of like a lick in his head or like a melody, like for a fiddle or a guitar or the bass line or something, but he doesn't know how to play anything. So
Right.
what was amazing to him was that he could just go to the fiddle player that they got, and he could just say, could you do like something like this and hum it out? And he said he was just amazed that musicians could actually just do that you could hum a tune and they could just play it right there. So there was a lot of like interaction between him and the band, and he said when they were in the recording booth, he'd asked, to kind of tweak something and they'd be able to do it. He said that like that was like one of the most fun parts. So I thought that was pretty cool, like him getting into the, he's admitting that he's not instrumentally talented, but he was able to work with these guys who are, and he gave them a lot of credit, and I thought that was really neat. So it was kind of cool to see how he went through the whole writing process of this and the production process and everything like that. And again, he really does seem like a very, very chill guy. Like he kept talking to the interviewer, it was a woman, and he kept saying, "Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." Like, I don't know. It made me like this album even more, because you don't really see a lot of humility, I think, in today's like huge artists.
For sure. No, you're
certainly
right.
not from Miss Swift. I mean,
okay.
That was my one dig. That's my one dig. Okay.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right. Here's a guy enjoying what he does.
Yes.
Figuring it out and making music because he likes it. And I don't know if he's out to really prove anything. He's just doing his thing. And that's it. And there's something to be said for that. And I think that's why it translates so well to the audience,
Definitely. And yeah. And here's another funny thing. He has a kid. He has a wife and
no.
Yeah.
Post Malone has a wife and kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But he keeps all that stuff private. He's not flaunting it out there. He's not writing songs about how his wife cheated on whatever. It's all that stuff is private, and he's just having fun making music. Like that's what he does.
That's awesome.
Unlike Taylor Swift.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, so
you're absolutely right. It's
I hate to say
it's a good point. And this I think you might have said behind the scenes that this is a double album done right.
Yeah, I did. I'll admit I did say that. True. I did say that.
And that's absolutely true. We're alluding to the fact that you had 37 effing songs or whatever it was of the Tortured Poets department.
Oh God.
And and that's the whole thing is there's that level of pretension that I think a lot of artists have. I think you saw it. I think you see it in guys like Bob Dylan. I think you see it in guys like, people that we've talked about on the show before. There's a level of pretension, and it translates through, particularly with Taylor Swift's music and the idea that she's really just this high-level intellectual that you can't possibly understand what's going on in her head. And Post Malone doesn't have that. And that's why I think this translates so well. And it's good writing. And
it is.
Can I talk about my favorite song for a minute?
Yes, let's hear it.
So my favorite song is "Hide My Gun" with Hardy.
Oh my God, really? Okay.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of Hardy.
Yeah, you and I like Hardy too. And Hardy's a really talented writer, right?
Yes, he is.
So I love the one lyric I love is that when he says, "Would you pack a never coming back again bag?" And they're going back to their honeymoon, endless honeymoon in Mexico after he hypothetically kills someone. No S, I'd kill a man for you.
Yes.
And that to me is just, I don't know why. It's so romantic. It's such a romantic thing.
It is.
Do that.
It is.
I love that song. I love the lyrics. I love how it sounds. And I was really intrigued, and I'll give you a little background too. Is this gentleman that's on this song might be the most multifaceted songwriter that you might not have even heard of. So one of the songwriters on this is credited Alexander Izquierdo, right? His stage name is Escudero, right? From Florida. The guy has been writing songs since 2009, right? He's written for Flo Rida. He's written for Rihanna, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, Niall Horan, Maroon 5, right?
Wow.
Young Thug, 2 Chainz, Lil Wayne, right? Wrote for Kane Brown, yes, because Kane Brown actually had a little bit of a crossover country with Marshmello there too, right? Leon Bridges, who is kind of this new R&B, smooth, soulful voice coming out in the last kind of decade or so.
Mm.
Justin Bieber, and Jack Harlow, and he co-wrote this song. And I'm thinking, what a range of this guy and his songwriting ability to be on rap tracks, and then to write on country, and then to go and adult contemporary. He's all over the place. He seems like he's a really, really talented guy, and I never heard of him up until this point. I'm like, who is this guy? And sure enough, the catalog he has is just incredible. He's got to be one of the most prolific of the last 20 years. It's insane. It really is.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. To be able, I feel like you're kind of like getting into like some genius musical talent here when you find someone who could do something like that, to span the range and not only write songs across this range, but make hit songs across that range is just incredible.
For sure. I was really, really impressed by that. And one of my favorite songs on his catalog is "Say All You Want for Christmas," and this was Nick Jonas and Shania Twain.
Oh wow, that's
and meanwhile, he's there with Little Durk, and now he's working with Hardy and Post Malone. I think it's just so cool. That's awesome. I never heard of him until now, but I'm definitely gonna check out his stuff.
That is cool.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song on there?
Honestly, I was gonna say "Hide My Gun."
That's awesome. That's good. I'm glad.
And in the interview, Post Malone actually goes about how Hardy is a very good songwriter, and how he didn't really get into the detail, but he said how Hardy approaches the songwriting and the melody in order to make it catchy is, he said, it's really cool. So and it shows in the song, because like you said, it's a very romantic song. The song in a dark way.
Yes, a dark way. Yes,
but it's still fun. And my favorite has to be MEXICO Mexico, featuring Billy Strings, of course.
Billy Strings.
Yeah, I'm definitely biased on that one, but it's just a very fun song, and I like the fact that when you have these people featured on the song, the people that are featured on here are showing their kind of musical palette, I guess you could say.
Right. Yes, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not having Post Malone like step over these people. He's just writing making a song with them. And I think Billy Strings, like, it comes out, you have that, kind of bluegrass folk going on there, but it's a fast song. It's really fun. I love the lyrics. It's probably one of my favorites on there.
Yeah, that is a good fun. It is really fun, and that really, like I said, it really showcases on songs like that. And then you have the rest of the guys, everybody on there that has showcases what their kind of thing is, especially Billy Strings. Like you said too, Billy Strings is got to be. What's weird is that when he tours, he plays like these like mid-size arenas. And I'm like, who knows enough of Billy Strings to go see him? Like, it's weird, I love Billy Strings, and he was relatively unknown probably until about like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But it became viral. He had that viral video where he's sitting on a couch, like in a trailer park. Dust in
a baggie.
And I think what's funny is that you look at like guys like Post Malone and Hardy and Ernest and Jelly Roll, and you look at them like physically, like basically like just fat white dudes. Like they don't they don't seem like they're gonna produce anything like that's like has any kind of, the idea that Hardy approaches it. And not just like hanging out with his buddies, like gonna like put words down. Yeah. That's like pretty impressive. I think that's pretty cool.
I think that is really cool. I think it just shows the talent that some people could be hiding inside of them, and you wouldn't know just by looking at them.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right.
Now, the one song that everyone knows off this album, I think.
Yes,
you've heard it. I had some help. Feature Morgan Wallen has almost 100 million plays on YouTube. I was looking at. Now, I love this song as well. It's definitely like a modern country jam, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah, it definitely is.
But I think it. It somehow doesn't have that pretentiousness, I guess, behind it, or like just kind of like a mass-produced thing. But it's right. It's definitely overplayed, I would say, at this point. But it's still a fun song to listen to.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Yeah, I don't dislike it, but no. You kind of knew what you were getting with Morgan Wallen, but it's I don't know. I guess it's peak Morgan Wallen in a good way.
Right? Yeah, that's the best we could say about it. It's Pete Morgan Wallen, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. No, yeah, I didn't hate it. By the way, you think Morgan Wallen's going to jail?
Oh, so okay, yeah. Quick sidebar on that. What's going on with that?
Just a real quick sidebar.
Yeah, we need to know. We need to know.
I think there's potential that he's going to be sentenced very soon to something. And I guess it's, from what I've heard, and I've only read a few stories or I've only seen a few headlines, is that he's going to be going to jail.
Wow.
In the best case scenario is maybe like 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
That's what it seems like. And Tennessee, from what I understand, they're pretty, I mean, they're in Nashville, but Tennessee is pretty, I imagine, pretty hardcore and probably pretty conservative, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah. And we did talk about this. So we'll have the tech team put a little card up here to the video where we
oh good.
we did discuss this in a previous video.
Yeah, we did.
And I think I was leaning more towards the, not necessarily the harsh side, but I think there has to be some kind of repercussion for this.
You were pretty harsh.
Okay, at the time I might have been pretty harsh. I might have been pretty harsh.
You might have said, you know what, throw him in jail. That is the exact phrase I remember you talking about.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I think it's true. I mean, this kid's with this punk kid's going to be, throwing chairs, thinks he can get away with it because he's number one in the world.
I know, and we could have he's talented, great, blah blah. What if there was a little kid down there? I mean, like, you just have this guy being drunk. He tossed. If me or you did that, we would be in jail a year ago.
For sure, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think you could go too lenient on. There has to be something. But you know what? if he does go to jail, he's probably gonna write a whole jail album or something. Like, can you see him? I can see him doing that.
Yeah. And that's what's so interesting about Morgan Wallen too, is because he does stuff like that, and he can't. It's always something negative with him all the time. Mm-hmm. He's always causing trouble with something. But if you look at his last couple albums, there's a lot of songs on there that are really good and that are really well written. And you've made a point in saying that he wasn't involved in the writing of all of those songs.
Right.
But at the very least, he does a good job of kind of putting it all together. And that's what's kind of surprising too. Once again, talking about these guys that are like, you wouldn't know looking at them they could be capable of this.
Oh, for sure. I think I think Morgan Wallen's a great performer. I mean, obviously he's gotten pretty far. I don't know much about his earlier years, but I'm sure he had to have done some of his own stuff prior to get to this point, to get noticed.
Pretty sure he was on America's Got Talent at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. But it wasn't a. I don't think he was a finalist or a winner or anything. I think he was just there. Maybe he was. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if it's like, he has his managers, and they say, oh, Mr. Wallen would like to purchase your song and perform it. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. That'd be great for you. So Mr. Wallen will play this for you. He will perform this for you, and we'll give you credits. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I Had Some Help is a definitely a good song.
Yeah, it's decent. It is, and I like the Hank Williams Jr. one is a good one too. And I think he mentioned in an interview that this is his favorite one because to him, Hank Williams Jr. and Hank Williams, his father, are the pinnacle of country music. Like, I think he was really most excited about that, which I can't blame him. I mean, these guys like Brad Paisley and Blake Shelton and obviously Dolly Parton and Hank Williams Jr. have been doing this for a long time, and they evidently were okay with working with Post Malone. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about? Now, there's one song on here that I feel doesn't really not necessarily fit the country mold, but I think it's more like a pop song. It's What Don't Belong to Me.
Okay, yeah.
What Don't Belong to Me. I think that's just a really catchy song, and I like how that one was kind of like snuck in there. I mean, you have the country backing with the. There's I think there's some fiddle in there. It's a little bit of twang, but I thought that was an interesting one to put in there. And it kind of harkens back to the old, quote unquote, old Post Malone.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. That is true. Like, it kind of snuck in there. But I think it, like you said, it doesn't really fit, but it makes it work. So yeah, I would agree with that too.
It still works. And then I have to say the the second disc, I guess, where it's just all him. It's still the same team of writers, but it's just there's no one featured on it. I thought that those were fantastic as well, and I feel like a lot of them, and I had a list here of how some of them sound more quote unquote old school, like kind of 90s country, kind of not necessarily modern country, but more 90s country, and I really appreciated that.
Yes, no, that's really cool too, because that's something we grew up with too. Did you grow up in 90s country? Because I really didn't until I got older, probably my 20s, that I really become aware. Besides like Garth Brooks, everybody knew who Garth Brooks was in the English speaking world and probably everywhere else too. But that listening to that and recognizing those songs and having like vague memories of them, like Billy Ray Cyrus and all that.
Yes,
taking that in, because I think that's all of what you and I and Post Malone as millennials are trying to get back to and seeing. That you're right, that was cool.
Yeah, it's listening to those songs because this was kind of a random time in my childhood, but I think my mom just randomly started listening to a country radio show, like country radio, and so we'd be going somewhere and I'd just be listening to it, and it just brought me back to that kind of a couple years of my life when, for whatever reason, my mom and my dad were just addicted to country music. So, but it was neat. And the other thing that I love about it is the fact that these are all different sounding. They might all be old school. Some of them are more modern country. Most of them I feel like are more back towards like the 90s, early 2000s country. I could be wrong on that, but that's just what I feel from it. But what you said at the beginning, Dixon, you listen to these 27 odd songs and you don't get bored of it, because I think they all sound different. They all have their own kind of flavor to them. Yeah. So
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
And like I said, Post Malone, even by himself, not featured with a big time country artist, I think he still nails it. And I think he probably had a lot of fun doing this. The songs by himself.
I think so too. I think that's really showcases his whole writing ability on the country side of things. These might have been rap songs in reality, or the way he kind of does things, and the way they were produced and laid out. I think they work really well with his current song. I hope he sticks with it. I think he's going to be around. I think he might be a country artist.
Well, the funny thing is, if you look at some videos from his tour, he will do his old rap songs, but he has the band, so he has a whole live band with him, but they play it in a country tone. It's very interesting, and it somehow works out very well.
Really? That's got to be pissing people off, do you think? Do you think it's pissing people off?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It could be. People might be so drunk that they don't even know what's going on at the concert, but I could
that sounds awesome, though. That sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. You got to see some of this stuff. It's pretty neat. And really I think he's really getting into that, having a whole band behind him. I think he's really, really settling into that, and I think he's enjoying himself with it. Yeah,
that's really awesome. That's really cool. I think, like I said, this might be. This is one of the better country albums, country songs I've heard in a while.
Oh yeah, I know that's great. If you go back 3 years, and if someone told you, hey, in a few years, Post Malone, you're like, oh yeah, that guy that raps. Oh yeah, he's gonna release one of the best country albums like you've ever heard in a while. You're like, that's no way.
There's no effing way. There's no way. That's wild, man. That is really cool, though.
Yeah, no. So I feel like we got to rate this album.
Yeah, probably a good idea. We haven't done that in a minute.
We haven't. It's been a little while. I'm okay.
All right.
I'll throw it out there first.
Okay.
And I might be, what do the kids say? Glazing, as the Gen Zers say.
What is that? What does that mean?
Oh, you never heard that?
No,
that means
glazing?
you're like that means you're like not. You're like overly complimenting someone, and you're like hyping them up. You're like, oh wow, bro's really glazing this guy right now, something like that.
Bro's really glazing.
Whatever that means.
That's awesome. Glazing. Okay, gotcha. And what is skibbity toilet mean? Is that a thing?
I feel like I feel like I'm too old to understand that level of meme. I think it's some kind of meme or video or something about it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've seen the mention, but I don't think I've ever seen the original meme or video or anything.
We'll have to find that. We'll have to look for that. It might be a song.
Please.
Oh man, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think any Gen Zers listen, any Zoomers listen to us. But but if they did, they're probably screaming at the screen right now, like, "You friggin' idiots! You don't know Skibbity Toilet." Yeah.
Definitely a boomer moment on our end from the Zoomer crowd for sure. Anyway, yeah. So let's hear it. So not to glaze, but let's hear it.
Okay. Not to glaze. Okay. But I'm going to give this a 9.1.
Wow, that might be a glaze.
I know. Right. I might have stepped overboard, but I
liked it.
I honestly did. I really did. And before we had the idea for this, I had listened to it. I had it on play in the background. I forget where me and my wife were, but out camping or whatever. And I had it on in the background, and we were listening to it when it released. But I never got the chance to really sit down and listen to each of these songs, and I enjoyed the heck out of them. I really did. And then watching the interview of how they went through it, thinking about the different tones of each song, the intricacies behind it, and just thinking of how this is someone who just raps.
Yeah.
And then he just stepped into this and said, I'm going to make a country album because I want to and I like it. Yeah. And it came out to be so successful and just such a good listen. I really enjoyed it. I truly did. So that's what I'm sitting with.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. No,
it's really, oh, go ahead.
Good. No, go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say.
I was going to say, just, it's really based off my enjoyment. And I think the fact that he not only works so well with the people that he featured songs with and how he was able to use their specific sound and bring that in and the fact that he fits in so well that you didn't even know he was on the song.
No, seriously.
And I just think that speaks to how well that he did on this. So that's my rating there, 9.1.
That's serious. That might be, like you said, not to glaze that, but that's serious. No, yeah, and you're right. Considering the context of it all,
right? That
he's a decent guy. Sounds like he's having fun. Good pairing of artists. Sounds like a lot of fun. Really, really, you can really enjoy each song. Like you just like. There's very few skips on this album, if any.
Right.
I think it's got to be up there. If 10 is the best and 1 or 0 is the worst, I think given the context, because we always say this, it's always about the context, right?
Sure.
I think you're talking like a solid 7 to 9 spread. I would say like an 8 is probably fair for me. Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. We got the aggregator here. I'm looking at this right now at the critical reception. You could find this on the Wikipedia page, but it got a 71 on the aggregated score. A lot of 7s. We see Rolling Stone 3.5 stars, The Telegraph 4 stars.
Okay, that's out of 4 or out of
the stars are out of 4, but the 71 is out of 100.
Okay, yeah.
So
I got you. Okay, all right.
You're above average there. So.
More than above, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would agree. I think I would agree. I think it is above average for sure. I think it's really good.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Post Malone, you get a stellar review from the Rave Show Records and Rants with Isa Dixon. So congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Post Malone. Keep up the good work.
Yeah,
we want to hear more from you in the country genre.
We really like it. We really like it.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I'm glad you suggested it because I'm like, I didn't even. I really enjoyed it, but like I said, I didn't realize it until I realized that it was actually Post Malone. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
so
and cool. That it's just one of those things that I just had on in the background, but actually sitting down, like you could sit down and appreciate this album. I think that's why I enjoy it more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to. Speaking of country albums, I'm looking forward to Lana Del Rey's country album when it comes out, because I'm sure we're going to be reviewing that 100%.
I'm looking forward to that as well, because that's what if Morrissey did a country album?
Oh my god! Oh, don't get my hopes up, Dixon. Come on.
It's like I could just hear him singing about like horses on the plane, something like that.
Man, I wonder how that would work out.
Oh, you're gonna love this because I just looked up. So the country album that Lana Del Rey is going to be releasing is called Lasso.
Really?
Yes. So the genre, so country Americana in Southern Gothic.
What does that mean?
It's forthcoming from 2020 in 2025. So yes, Jack Antonoff is producing the record from what was that band? Bleachers? Is he in Bleachers?
I'm not sure.
Yes, Bleachers. Yeah, he's in Bleachers, and he
Okay.
works a lot with Taylor Swift too. But this guy Luke Laird is going to be on the production as well. This is just from his Wikipedia page. This is the introduction of his Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
He has written over 20 #1 Billboard singles, including Carrie Underwood's So Small, Temporary Home, and Undo It. Blake Shelton's Gunna, Sarah Evans, A Little Bit Stronger, Rodney Atkins, Take a Back Road, Eric Church's Drink in My Hand, Give Me Back My Hometown, and Talladega.
Oh, wow.
Kenny Chesney's American Kids.
John Party's I think that's an underappreciated song. I love American Kids. I absolutely love that song.
He's also written and produced songs for Tim McGraw, Rascal Flatts, Casey Musgraves, Toby Keith, John Legend, Darius Rucker, and Neo.
So this guy's he's deep into the country production.
This guy knows what he's doing, and Lana Del Rey knows what she's doing. This is going to be really, really interesting. Not to overshadow the Post Malone thing we just talked about. This is going to be really interesting.
Oh my god, I can't. I'm so excited for this because you really turned me on to Lana Del Rey.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Heard a few of her songs prior to us starting the show, but
yes,
I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow.
Oh, Dixon, I hate to step aside from what we're talking about really quick, but just mentioning the show. Do you know it's almost 3 years that we've been doing this show?
Yes. So it's going to be what? It's going to be 3 years this coming November. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So if I recall correctly, we started out kind of just kind of basically hanging out and recording what we were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
there was
two guys talking, which you could find that pretty much everywhere.
Two just white dudes in their 30s talking.
Yeah.
And but we always had a music component to it. And I'm pretty sure the first thing you listened to was Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. I'm pretty sure that was it. That's why we discussed as far as our discussion. Right. Not that that was the first time you ever heard music, but I remember I had made a suggestion. Why don't you listen to this and then report back? And sure enough, it became a lifelong project that we're still working on.
I know.
That's how essentially how Records of Rant was born. Because I remember we were big anti Peppermint Patty advocates.
I know. I was actually looking back at like we had a community, our one and only community post about Peppermint Patty.
No, it has nothing to do with who she is. I know it's 2024, about to be 2025. Don't come for us.
I know.
We're allies, so don't worry about that. But the idea
God, you're gonna get us canceled.
She would invite herself over for Thanksgiving and then complain about it. It's just such a shocking thing to me. I can't get over it. Can't freaking get over it.
Oh, we're gonna have to go back into that. For our 3-year anniversary.
I have an interesting idea for our 3-year anniversary show. We'll discuss that behind the scenes.
Okay, so that's gonna be a big one.
Yeah,
that'll be exciting. Yeah. But yeah, we're the views are picking up. The subscribers are picking up. We're doing great. I mean, we used to post stuff. I'm glazing us now, but we used to post stuff and get like 2 views. Now we're getting like thousands. I don't know if you know this, Dixon, if you've been looking at the analytics, but yeah, it's pretty wild.
Up to and including thousands of views, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and you think that's achievable by the end of the year?
If we were able to somehow get some kind of algorithm blessing and our video suddenly got like 100,000 views. I think it's definitely achievable. We have to hit something while the iron's hot and record something the day that some kind of something big in the music industry happens. We have to record that day and then post it very shortly after. Which I know is tough for the tech team, but we could do it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. From what I can tell is is the video that we've gotten the most views on is, and it's probably probably people out there that misclicked on it because they're looking for this actual live performance, but it's the Santana at Woodstock.
I know.
It's like somebody definitely looking for like Santana Soul Sacrifice Woodstock, and I see this, it's like, okay, yeah, and then it's like, oh,
And yeah, there's like, oh, yeah, that's not what I was looking for.
Immediately clicked away. But yeah, we talked about that. I still listen to that. I love that. I love Soul Sacrifice at Woodstock. That's got to be the pinnacle. Speaking of the American musical experience, I mean, that's huge. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got 61 subscribers off that. I'm looking right now at the analytics here, but yeah, no, that's
wow. Good. Well, that's good to know.
550 watch hours as well.
Okay, so people are clicking on it and watching it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, good. And we have a good portion of our YouTube fans out there still sticking with us. That's good. Thanks for for keeping up.
Yeah, we appreciate that one, guys.
That one, guys.
Good stuff.
Sounds good.
Yeah, guys, we hope you stick with us, and we love doing the show. We love you guys. Give us a comment down below what you think about this album.
Yeah,
and we'll maybe you'll be featured in the comment of the week next week.
I hope so.
It's a very honorable position, but
it is.
It is. But guys, we will see you in the next one.
Peace.